Walt Disney's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is a movie of special significance. Made in 1954 at a cost of over $9 million, 20,000 Leagues was the most expensive motion picture made up to that time. It was a critical and commercial success as a movie clearly not made just for kids. The film was also of significance to me personally, debuting on network TV in 1976 when I was 15 years old. It was an experience not to be forgotten. At the time, I was quite swept away by the spectacle of this classic, not to mention the amazing submarine Nautilus. The movie and Verne's novel were among the factors influencing my decision to enlist in the U.S. Navy. Today, the older me is more moved by the character of Captain Nemo and his complex relationships with Professor Aronnax and Ned Land. Inspired by Jules Verne's 1870 novel, Walt Disney initially considered adapting the story as an animated feature or even a nature documentary. However, a serendipitous meeting with illustrator and set designer Harper Goff in a London model shop led to a creative partnership that would reshape the project's trajectory. Some of the key figures involved in the film's production included Walt Disney as the producer and visionary behind the project. His decision to pursue a live-action adaptation was influenced by Goff's compelling storyboards and audience feedback. Harper Goff, of course, was the production designer, whose Victorian-inspired vision of the Nautilus and underwater world helped define the film's amazing aesthetic. Richard Fleischer was the director, interestingly chosen by Walt despite being the son of Max Fleischer, one of Disney's early animation rivals. Earl Felton was the brilliant screenwriter who adapted Verne's novel into a screenplay that balanced adventure, character drama, and Cold War-era themes. James Mason, cast as Captain Nemo, delivered a performance that became iconic for its brooding intensity. Kirk Douglas, Paul Lucas, and Peter Lorre rounded out the cast as Ned Land, Professor Aronnax, and Conseil. The film was shot in Technicolor and CinemaScope, with elaborate underwater sequences and special effects that earned it 2 Academy Awards for Best Art Direction and Best Special Effects. The look and feel of this film still stands up today as an outstanding example of art in filmmaking. While the Disney film retains the broad strokes of Verne's novel, an enigmatic Captain Nemo, the submarine Nautilus, and a journey through the ocean's depths, it diverges significantly in tone, character focus, and narrative structure. Verne's novel is narrated by Professor Aronnax and emphasizes scientific exploration and philosophical reflection. The film shifts the narrative weight to Ned Land, portrayed by Kirk Douglas, whose brash, action-oriented persona reflects 1950s American ideals. Verne's Aronnax engages in introspective monologues, which are largely absent from the film, perhaps diminishing the novel's psychological depth. Conseil is reimagined as a comic sidekick, and Ned Land becomes the moral counterweight to Nemo. Verne's novel ends ambiguously, with Nemo's fate unknown. The film opts for a dramatic conclusion. Nemo dies, the Nautilus is destroyed, and the protagonists escape, reinforcing closure and Nemo's moral redemption. Walt Disney personally approved the shift from animation to live action after seeing Harper Goff's storyboards and audience reactions to a test presentation. He allowed Goff to redesign the Nautilus from Verne's cylindrical concept to a shark-like vessel with riveted iron plates, enhancing its visual menace and cinematic appeal. Walt also approved character and plot changes that made the story more accessible to mid-century American audiences, including the romanticized portrayal of Ned Land and a clear moral arc for Captain Nemo. Captain Nemo is arguably the most complex character in Verne's canon. He is a brilliant, tormented anti-hero whose motivations are steeped in political trauma. In the novel, Nemo's identity is deliberately obscured, but later revealed in The Mysterious Island as Prince Dakar, an Indian noble seeking revenge against British imperialism. Verne's Nemo is mysterious and misanthropic. He is a recluse who rejects terrestrial society, driven by grief and vengeance. He is also a genius. He uses the Nautilus to explore the ocean and punish warships, especially those tied to colonial powers. But he is morally ambiguous. His actions oscillate between humanitarian and violent, leaving readers uncertain of his ethical compass. Disney's Nemo, on the other hand, has a humanized backstory. His is a tragic history. His family was tortured and killed by an unnamed nation, motivating his war against militarism. Unlike the novel, the film's Nemo undergoes a transformation, choosing to destroy his base and die with his crew, rather than continue his explorations and his vendetta. This Nemo is a character toward which we can find some empathy, perhaps even sharing in Professor Aronnax's admiration. James Mason's performance added gravitas and subtlety, embodying the contradictions of Nemo's character. Walt Disney believed in storytelling that balanced wonder with moral resonance. He likely approved the changes to Nemo because they aligned with his ethos of redemption, emotional depth, and clear moral stakes. They allowed the film to explore themes of loss, vengeance, and forgiveness in a way that was accessible to families and general audiences. Disney wanted Nemo to be more than a mysterious genius. He wanted him to be a tragic hero whose journey could move hearts and minds. Nemo's transformation is the most compelling part of the story for me. The movie depicts him as a tortured soul. Before attacking the explosives transport, he is seen furiously playing the pipe organ in the salon of the Nautilus. His face is a portrait of pain and contradiction. He seems to know that his quest for vengeance is not noble, yet his torment allows little room for sympathy. His conversations, first with Professor Aronnax, and later when Ned Land saves his life simply and without thought, begin to work their way on him, beginning to dissolve a lifetime of hate. Yet any possible redemption is made impossible when Nemo is mortally wounded during the raid on Vulcania. As he lay dying by the viewport in the salon of the Nautilus, Nemo orders his crew to take the Nautilus on her last dive. This will destroy the Nautilus, the crew, and the captain himself. He utters his last words to the professor. There is hope for the future. And when the world is ready for a new and better life, all this will someday come to pass. In God's good time. Professor Aronnax, Conseil, and Ned manage to survive through Ned's tenacity, and together they witness the dramatic sinking of the Nautilus, while Nemo's last words are recited again, and the curtain falls. I find Nemo's last words startlingly hopeful. This movie was released at the height of the Cold War. Nuclear war seemed potentially imminent. Walt Disney chose this moment to provide a moment of hope for us all. The U.S. Navy's first nuclear submarine, USS Nautilus, was launched in January 1954, the same year in which 20,000 Leagues was made. The Navy's Nautilus was indeed named after Verne's craft. I must believe that Walt was communicating that we are ready for a new and better life, that this had truly come to pass in God's good time. Both Jules Verne's novel and Disney's film adaptation have left indelible marks on modern culture, influencing literature, cinema, and even technology. Verne's work is considered one of the first modern science fiction novels, blending scientific plausibility with imaginative adventure. His Nautilus inspired real-world submarine design and underwater exploration. Verne's themes of isolation, imperialism, and the complex ethics of science continue to resonate in contemporary discourse. The Disney film set new standards for special effects and underwater cinematography, influencing generations of filmmakers. It was a tour de force in live-action filmmaking, paving the way for future epics. Captain Nemo and the Nautilus became icons, referenced in theme parks, literature, and steampunk aesthetics. Both works endure because they tap into timeless human questions: freedom, vengeance, discovery, redemption, and the unknown. Verne's novel challenges readers to think deeply. Disney's film invites viewers to feel deeply. Jules Verne and Walt Disney could never have met, but they still collaborated to form a dialogue across mediums and generations. Thank you for viewing this video. Please consider liking the content and subscribing to our channel. Let us know what you think in the comments below and suggest stories you'd like to see next.